All right, everybody, welcome back. We're really diving deep today into the world of AI.
Oh, yeah.
This time we're looking at an episode from the English Lexicon Hub podcast.
Okay.
It's really interesting how they take English language learning and use it to discuss these really complex global topics.
Yeah.
And in this case, they're talking about DeepSeek AI.
DeepSeek.
Have you heard of that one?
I have, yeah. It's It's one of the, it seems to be China's answer to GPT4.
Oh, wow. Okay. So like a direct competitor.
Yeah, it seems like it.
So that's what we're going to be looking at today.
Yeah.
DeepSeek AI versus GPT4.
Right.
Is this the start of like an AI Cold War?
Ooh.
And what does all this mean for us by 2050?
Yeah, big questions.
Huge question. So
Yeah, it is.
let's get right into it.
Right.
So DeepSeek AI, already the name I think is very interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. It's got that seeking knowledge kind of connotation to it,
Yeah.
like a relentless pursuit of understanding.
Right. But of course, we have to remember, this is coming out of China,
Right.
which is a nation that's rapidly advancing in the AI field.
Mm-hmm.
So is it really just about seeking knowledge?
I think that's a good question to ask. It's like, what's the deeper layer to it, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Is it purely academic, or is there something a little more,
Competitive to it.
yeah, competitive? I think that's a good word for it.
Yeah. So how does DeepSeek actually measure up against something like GPT-4?
Well, that's where things get a little bit tricky.
Okay.
The podcast doesn't really offer a super detailed comparison, like on a technical level,
Okay.
but they do say that DeepSeek is meant to be incredibly versatile, like capable of doing all kinds of things, generating text, answering questions, maybe even writing code.
Wow.
And that's very similar to what we're seeing with GPT-4.
Okay, so they're both kind of aiming to be these multi-purpose tools.
Right. And they even highlight in the podcast how DeepSeek is apparently being used to analyze huge scientific data sets to help speed up drug discovery.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah. So it's definitely not just some theoretical project. It's out there. It's doing things.
It's in the real world.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Okay, so it's doing things, but how's it actually working?
Right.
I mean, we've all heard about GPT-4.
Yeah.
And its ability to understand not just text, but images, too.
It's pretty amazing.
So is DeepSeek operating on that same sort of level?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And I don't think the podcast goes into the really nitty-gritty details of how DeepSeek works.
Okay.
But we do know that GPT-4 uses something called a transformer architecture.
Right.
And that allows it to process both text and images.
Yeah.
And it can find these really complex patterns and relationships between them.
Wow.
So it's almost like GPT-4 has this brain that can
Yeah.
effortlessly switch between reading a book and looking at a painting.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. That's incredible. I mean, that is multimodal AI, right?
Yeah. It's multimodal, exactly. Ability to process all those different kinds of information.
And it opens up so many possibilities.
Hey, like imagine AI that can understand and interpret visual data alongside text.
Yeah.
That changes everything.
It's huge. It could revolutionize content creation, scientific research, all kinds of things.
It's mind-blowing.
It really is. And just think about
Yeah.
how we interact with computers in the world around us.
Yeah.
Imagine if we had AI assistants that could not only understand what we say,
Right.
but also understand our facial expressions, our gestures.
Oh, wow.
That's like next level.
Yeah. That's like straight out of science fiction.
It is. It is.
That's amazing. And it makes you wonder then what role DeepSeek is going to play in all of this.
Yeah.
Is it truly China's answer to GPT-4?
Right.
Does it have those same multimodal capabilities,
Yes.
or is it focusing on different things?
Yeah, is it playing a different game?
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg here.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. There's so much more to uncover.
Yeah. And this is where I think we get to that whole idea of an AI Cold War
Right.
that the podcast talks about.
Yeah. That's a really loaded term.
It is. It is. It makes you think of like this rivalry, this
Yeah.
competition
Mm-hmm.
between the U.S. and China.
Technological arms race.
Yeah.
So is that really What's going on here?
It's definitely attention grabbing.
Yeah.
But is it accurate?
Yeah.
Or is it a little bit sensationalized?
Right. Competition in the tech world. Isn't anything new.
Right. It's been going on forever.
But is this actually comparable to like the U.S.-Soviet Cold War?
Right. Like historically. Yeah. I mean, I think Cold War might be a bit of a strong term.
Yeah.
But the podcast does raise some good points about the geopolitics of AI.
Okay.
Like both the US and China see AI as this crucial area,
Yeah.
for their economies, national security,
Right.
global influence. It's not just about who has the best algorithms anymore. It's about who controls the future of technology.
Right. So the stakes are high.
They're very high.
It's not just about bragging rights. This is serious stuff.
Right.
So what's driving this intense competition?
Right.
And who stands to benefit the most from all of this?
Well, the podcast talks about the huge investments that are going into AI research and development,
Okay.
both from governments and private companies.
Yeah.
I mean, in the US, you've got companies like OpenAI, Google's DeepMind, Meta, all pushing the boundaries of what AI can do.
Right. And on the other side, you've got China with DeepSeek,
Exactly.
Baidu AI, Tencent AI.
Yeah, all backed by massive government funding.
Wow.
And they've got this whole national strategy to become the global leader in AI by 2030.
2030, that's like right around the corner.
It's coming up fast.
Yeah. So it sounds like we're about to see some major breakthroughs in AI.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's an exciting time.
It is exciting. But it also makes you wonder, what does this all mean for the average person?
Right.
Like, beyond all the geopolitical stuff.
Yeah.
How's this AI race going to actually impact our lives?
Well, that's where things get really interesting, I think. The potential applications of AI are huge.
Yeah.
They could touch almost every aspect of our lives.
Like, what kind of things?
Well, think about automation,
Okay.
personalized medicine, smarter cities,
Mm-hmm.
even more creative and engaging entertainment.
Wow.
Those are just a few examples.
Yeah.
AI could revolutionize whole industries.
Yeah.
So the countries that are leading in AI development, they're the ones who are going to benefit the most.
Okay.
And those who fall behind, they risk being left in the dust.
Right. It's almost like we're standing at this crossroads,
Yeah.
and there are these two paths emerging.
Mm-hmm.
On the one hand, there's all this potential for progress and innovation.
Right.
But then on the other hand, you've got the risk of increased global competition and even conflict.
Yeah. It's a double-edged sword.
It is. It's a lot to think about.
It is. It's a lot to process.
Yeah. And the podcast doesn't shy away from any of this.
No, they don't.
They even go so far as to ask that big question.
Oh, yeah.
Will AI take over?
It's the big one.
It's like the ultimate fear, right?
Yeah. The machines that we're creating could eventually surpass us,
Yeah.
become something we can't control.
Like a force of their own.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely fueled a lot of science fiction stories.
It has. I mean, that's where my mind goes every time I think about AI.
Right.
But is it a realistic concern?
Right. Is this something we actually need to worry about?
Or is it more of a Hollywood fantasy?
I honestly think it's a question that experts are still debating.
Okay.
Some people believe that artificial general intelligence,
AGI?
AGI, yeah, the kind of AI that can really think and reason like a human,
Right.
they think that's still a long way off,
Okay.
if it's even possible.
Yeah.
But then other people are arguing that we're actually approaching that point much faster than we realize,
Wow.
and that AI could surpass human intelligence sooner rather than later.
And what would happen then?
Well, that's the scary part.
Right.
No one really knows. It could lead to all kinds of unpredictable consequences.
Yeah. It's like we're stepping into,
Totally uncharted territory.
it's both exciting and terrifying at the same time.
It is. It is. But beyond the idea of AI becoming super intelligent,
Yeah.
there's also the more immediate impact it could have on our jobs and livelihoods.
Right. If machines can start doing the jobs that humans do,
Yeah.
what's going to happen to us?
That's a huge concern.
Yeah.
It's one that we need to be talking about.
Absolutely.
And the shift to an AI-driven economy is going to lead to job losses in some areas.
Right.
There's no way around that.
So what can we do?
Well, I think the key is to anticipate these changes
Well-
and then invest in education and retraining programs
Yeah.
to help people prepare for the jobs of the future.
Right. Make sure everyone's prepared for this new reality.
Exactly. And we also need to start thinking about new models of work and income distribution.
Oh,
We need to make sure that everyone benefits from the advancements in AI.
Right. It can't just benefit a select few.
Exactly. It needs to benefit society as a whole.
Yeah. It sounds like we need a massive societal shift.
We do.
Not just a technological one.
I agree.
To really navigate all of this.
It's going to require a lot of planning and collaboration.
Yeah. And beyond the economic implications, there's also the question of how AI is going to impact our social structures.
Right.
And even our sense of identity.
Yeah. I mean, if AI can start doing things that we used to think were uniquely human, like writing poetry or composing music, what does that mean for us?
Yeah.
How does that change how we see ourselves and what it means to be human?
It's a big question.
It's a huge question.
Yeah. Will we embrace these advancements?
Yeah.
And see AI as a tool to help us be more creative?
Right.
And push the boundaries of what's possible.
Yeah. Will we be excited about it?
Yeah.
Or will we resist it because we're afraid?
Yeah. Afraid that AI will threaten our very existence.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. The podcast doesn't really offer any easy answers to these questions. They just present the questions and encourage us to wrestle with them, to have those tough conversations about what kind of future we want to create with AI.
Yeah, to be mindful and intentional about it.
Exactly. And I think that's a really important point.
Yeah.
Because it's not about predicting the future with 100% certainty. It's about being prepared for a world where AI plays a much bigger role.
Yes. To be aware of the potential benefits and the risks.
Exactly.
And to be actively involved in shaping how AI develops and how it's used.
Right. It's about making sure that AI aligns with our values and our aspirations for the future.
Yeah. So it's not about being passive observers. It's about being active participants.
Exactly. We all have a role to play in this.
Yeah. It really does feel like we're on the edge of something brand new.
Yeah.
This whole new era.
Yeah.
Where the lines between human and machine are starting to blur.
Yeah. The boundaries are definitely getting fuzzy.
It's pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah.
But also a little bit unsettling, you know?
I agree. There's definitely that element of the unknown.
Right. Like what's going to happen. But I like what the podcast says about how we have the power to shape this future.
Yeah. It's not predetermined. You know, it's up to us to decide how we want to live with AI.
And what role we want it to play in our society.
Exactly.
So I guess as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious, what really stood out to you from all this talk about DeepSeek AI GPT4?
For me, I think it's just realizing that AI isn't some abstract concept anymore. It's already here. It's already impacting our lives in so many ways.
Absolutely.
And it's only going to become more influential.
Yeah, it's not going away.
No, it's here to stay.
So we better figure out how to live with it.
Exactly. And the key takeaway for me is that we need to be informed, we need to be engaged, and we need to be proactive in shaping the future of AI.
I completely agree.
Right.
And to leave everyone with a final thought,
okay.
I want to borrow a question from the podcast.
Right.
They ask, if AI could truly understand human language and images by 2050, what questions would you ask it? What mysteries would you want to unravel?
That's a great question.
It is. It really gets you thinking.
Yeah. It makes you think about the possibilities and the challenges that are ahead of us.
So what about you? What questions would you ask an AI that could potentially unlock the secrets of the universe?
Wow. It's hard to even imagine.
I know.
But it's a great thought experiment.
It is. And I encourage everyone listening
Yeah.
to really ponder that question.
Yeah.
The answers might surprise you.
Yeah. And they might reveal a lot about your own hopes and fears.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a really insightful exercise.
It is.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Of course.
Into the world of AI. We've covered a lot today. From the rise of DeepSeek AI to this potential AI Cold War and all those big questions about what it means to be human in this age of intelligent machines.
Yeah. It's been a fascinating conversation.
It has. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, stay engaged.
Yeah. Don't be passive. Stay active.
The future of AI is in our hands.
That's right. We all have a say in this.
So let's make it a good one.
Absolutely.